There is a place, far past the winds that carry memory and beyond the hills where light forgets to rise, called Duskvale, a quiet village caught forever between day and night. It neither wakes nor sleeps, but drifts gently in a state of eternal twilight, as though the sky above has paused mid-breath, unsure whether to exhale a moon or a sun. It is a village that does not keep time in seconds or hours, but in sighs, glances, and the slow blooming of lantern light. You do not arrive in Duskvale by road. The path is remembered only when you stop looking for it. Some say it finds you, like a half-finished dream that quietly returns after years of silence. Its streets are cobbled with stone that hums faintly when rain falls. The air carries the scent of dried lavender and wood smoke, and the shadows are never sharp, only softened around the edges like old stories. In Duskvale, clocks do not tick, they whisper, no to tell the same time, and none are trusted, except one, the great Dreamclock, nestled inside a leaning tower of gray wood and brass, chimes only at sunset, once a day, with a tone that sounds less like a bell and more like a sigh remembered from childhood. It is said that Master Holland, the last of the Dusk Clockmakers, built it from the regrets he could not mend, and the memories he wished he could change. He spoke softly, dressed in layers of worn velvet, and had eyes the color of overcast skies. Some say he knew how to rewind time. Others say he only knew how to rethread the dream of time, stitching it into something gentler, something softer, something that could soothe the soul if not correct the past. Many come to Duskvale in search of rest, though they do not always know why. Some carry a memory they wish to forget, others, a silence they wish to remember. And when the dream clock chimes, they listen, not with their ears, but with that part of the heart that still believes in second chances whispered in sleep. Tonight, you have arrived to. You do not know how you found your way here, only that you are here now, standing in the hush of a village between breaths, beneath a sky the color of faded ink. A lantern sways gently above a doorway carved with spiral sigils. Beyond it, a voice is waiting to tell you a story, not just any story, but the kind that lingers, like twilight on old skin, or a dream that ends just before the answer is given. Let the tale begin gently. Let time move backward once more. Let sleep settle slowly, like dusk across the soul. Long before the first bell ever rang in Duskvale, before the notion of time even dared to name itself, there was only silence, not the absence of sound, but a presence so vast and still that nothing dared ripple it. This was the still hour, a stretch of existence before the world turned, before stars blinked, and before thought wandered into shape. In that endless stillness, time did not move forward or backward. It curled upon itself like a sleeping serpent, dreaming of its own tale. There were no clocks, no footsteps, no heartbeats. There was only the hush, and within it, the deep breath before beginnings. Some say the world was born not from fire or light, but from hesitation, the single moment where silence considered becoming sound. This pause, this fragile second, stretched and stretched until it cracked, not with noise, but with rhythm, not with chaos, but with the suggestion of pattern. Like the first raindrop that falls long before the storm, a tiny beat echoed across the hush. That beat became the first chime. The chime did not come from a bell, nor was it heard with ears. It came from within the hush itself, a vibration that caused the folds of nothingness to shimmer, like thin silk touched by breath. The universe flinched, not in fear, but in curiosity, and began to unfurl. From that chime spilled the first fragments of form. Wisps of sound curled into loops. Silence shaped itself into echoes of things yet to be. The void gave way to dusk, not light, not dark, but the gentle in-between. Dusk became the color of existence, and within its velvet folds, the first realms began to take shape. It is said that the dusk gave birth to three spirits: Vorl, the memory, who could only see what was; Shy, the possibility, who saw only what might be; and Dathan, the rest, who saw nothing and longed for nothing. The three wandered through the hush, drawing lines in it like fingers in mist. Where they passed, stillness shifted, memory caused the hush to ripple backward, replaying moments that had not happened yet. Possibility spun new sounds, notes, and pulses that had never been imagined. And rest stilled it again, wrapping time into sleep, binding movement back into quiet. Together, they formed the first measure of time, not as a straight path, but as a breathing rhythm. Inhale, exhale, memory, dream, pause, begin again. But time did not yet belong to the world. It was only a suggestion, a drifting waltz with no dancers, until the first being stirred from the hush and breathed it into motion. But that is for another part of the story. For now, imagine this. From the shimmering folds of the hush, where the three dusk spirits wandered in gentle conflict and communion, came the first echoes of will, not born of desire, but of recognition. For time, once stirred, longed to be seen, and the dusk, once stirred, longed to be held. It was from this yearning that the first beings emerged, not created by gods, for there were no gods yet, but called into shape by the psalm between silence and sound. These beings did not yet have names. Names came later, when words dared to form, but they were known by their motions. One swirled in spirals, dancing where shadow met glow, and left behind stars that flickered like memories returning. One pulsed like a soft heartbeat, sending warmth into the bones of the forming world, and one whispered into the folds of mist, their breath thick with slumber and rain. Together, they wove the framework of dream, a lattice of motion, emotion, and stillness. They did not build with stone or fire, but with sensation. They carved valleys from longing, mountains from waiting, rivers from sorrow too gentle to be wept. These were not landscapes of matter, but of meaning. You would not have seen them, but you might have felt them. In those drifting moments before waking, when the world is sensed more than known. As their presence deepened, the dusk spirit Vorl, who was memory, gifted them the past, a tale to belong to, even if it had not yet happened. Shy, the one who danced in maybes and mights, breathed into them endless futures, scattered like petals across a breeze. And Dathan, bearer of the hush, placed within them the ability to rest, to pause, to soften, to sleep. These gifts made the beings more than form. They became capable of story. One of them, a gentle-eyed weaver of unseen threads, became known as Haliver, the binder. He wove the rivers of dream into paths of time, so others might follow without drifting forever. It was he who crafted the first tale threads, stories, that shaped reality instead of merely reflecting it. Another, Rihanna, whose voice was the shimmer before rain, taught stillness to echo, She sat beneath the sky and hummed the first lullaby, which caused the dusk to fold around her like a shawl, and from that warmth, sleep was born. And then came Temin, who did not create, but listened. He walked in silence, cupping the pauses between moments, gathering them like seeds, and wherever he planted one, a night bloomed, velvet and complete. There were many others, too many to name, dancers, architects of breath, mist callers, and stitchers of reflection. None ruled, none warred, for there was no need to claim when all was shared, a fabric of being spun with patience. Watched over by the hush itself, they built nothing permanent. Instead, they left trails, a spiral of moss on a dream hill, a warm breeze that hummed with half-forgotten names, a shadow that always turned to face the wind. And from their movements, a kind of rhythm began to emerge, not the rhythm of machines or metronomes, but the subtle pulse of becoming. And this rhythm became the basis for early magic, not spells or incantations, but remembrances, soft urgings, and seasonal songs that guided the dusk like tide. But the dusk, while generous, was also fragile. With each new story, with each new shape, the balance between silence and sound grew thinner. The hush, once thick and still, began to ripple too easily, and so the three dusk spirits who had given their gifts returned to watch. Vorel, memory, whispered to the beings, "Mark what has passed, but do not grip it." Shy, possibility, sang, "Create gently, for every thread you pull makes another tremble." And Dathan, the bearer of rest, spoke nothing, only placed a single finger to the sky, and the stars blinked once, then paused. It was a warning, but also a blessing. And so, the beings gathered once more beneath the leaning light of dusk, and began to shape the world itself, guided not by power, but by timing. They understood that to make anything truly endure, it must have rhythm, pause, and purpose. Thus began the weaving of the world that would one day become Duskvale, not a kingdom, but a chord, not a place, but a pulse, and within its first breath, the idea of time stirred. The world that formed from the hush was not sudden. It arrived in ripples, like rings moving outward from a pebble dropped gently into still water. Each wave carried meaning, and in time, those meanings became formed. It began not with land, but with light, not sunlight. No, for the sun had not yet been kindled, but with a half-light, the glow of dusk itself, soft and uninsistent. This light carried warmth without heat, color without sharpness. It limned every fold of the newly forming realm in muted golds and silvers, the hues of memory and possibility blending into the air like sighs. This light did not shine from a point in the sky, but from the weft between moments, a thin thread connecting all that had been dreamed into being. Under its gentle gleam, the land began to gather itself, not assembled from rock or clay, but from emotions given weight. Hills rose where patience had waited longest. Rivers curled in places where longing had pooled. Forests took root from ancient silences, their trunks grown thick with stories too tired to speak. Time itself emerged next. Though it was not yet measured, it was felt, like a mood settling over a room. It drifted in and out, not linear, not yet obedient. At times it moved forward like a shy child stepping through fog, and then back again like a memory returning unbidden. The beings of dusk moved with it, not above or against it, but as part of its rhythm. Sensing the need for steadiness, the weaver being however returned with a new purpose. He had listened long to the drift of time and began to weave guide threads. Long silken lines spun from moments of clarity and peace. These threads were invisible to the eye but could be felt in the breath. In the stillness between thoughts, he fastened them gently to the world's edges, to the peaks of sleeping mountains, to the quietest star in the velvet sky, to the heart of every tree whose roots sank slowly in their sleep. These threads became known as the first hours, not seconds or minutes, but feelings wrapped in time, intervals of dusk that cradled the world in softness. Morning, as we know it, had not yet arrived, nor had night. There was only dusk, unfolding endlessly, shaped by those who felt it. And so, the world of Duskvale began to take shape, not yet a village, but a valley of folds and echoes. Valleys formed where light curled in thought. Lakes appeared where memories sat too long. Above all, the sky, that ever-hushed vault of violet mist, shimmered not with stars, but with slow chimes of light, blooming and fading like breaths held and released. The beings, who by now had grown gentler and more still, began to notice patterns in the way time stirred. It moved not in circles nor lines, but in soft spirals, curling inward, then outward, folding events into echoes. When one remembered something, it seemed to reoccur. When one longed for silence, it spread, and so they began to shape the first magic, drawn from this dance of time and feeling. It was not cast or spoken, but remembered into being. A moment of kindness might still the breeze. A sorrow well held could call down rain. Dreaming near an old stone might cause the moss to bloom in forgotten colors. They called it threadwork, the quiet art of folding time into gesture. This was the world's first language. It had no words, only rhythm, no grammar, only breath. Yet through it, meaning passed from spirit to hill, from tree to stream, from silence to sleep. Then came the first clock, not a machine, but a pool, perfectly round, still, silver-hued and soundless. It reflected not faces but moments, one for each who gazed into it. Some saw a childhood not yet lived. Others glimpsed a farewell waiting just beyond the next fold of path. The pool's edges were etched with spirals, and each ripple told a different story, depending on the weight of one's longing. Over time, the beings came to sit beside the pool and listen. It did not speak, yet still, it told them when to rest, when to rise, when to let go. From this pool, the idea of marking time began to quietly bloom, not to control, but to revere. For time, in Duskvale, was sacred not because it passed, but because it paused. It was from this reverence that the first tower was imagined, not to rise above, but to reflect below. Built not from stone, but from the memories of stillness, and from the breath of twilight itself. It would one day become the clock tower, and within it, the Dreamclock, though those names had not yet been spoken. The being in the soft folds of time, where dusk lingered endlessly, and moments turned like the slow hands of an unseen clock, there lived a man called Master Holland, though even he would have hesitated to say whether that was truly his name. Names, in Duskvale, were like shadows. They followed, they shifted, and they changed depending on the light. But Holland is what the villagers whispered, always with a kind of reverence that felt more like memory than awe. No one could quite say when Holland arrived. Some swore he had always been there, a quiet presence moving through the village like a second sunset, his long coat brushing the cobblestones, his breath fogging the cool air with soft spirals. Others remembered meeting him for the first time more than once, as if time itself looped around his presence like a familiar tune that kept returning in dreams. He lived in the old tower, the one with the crooked peak and brass gears that turned slower than any clock should. The building had leaned gently for as long as anyone could remember, as though bowing to some unseen truth. Ivy climbed its spine like green thread through worn fabric, and on clear evenings, the tower shimmered faintly, as if stitched into the very fabric of twilight. Inside that tower, it was said, time did not behave as it did elsewhere. The walls ticked softly, but not in any rhythm known to man. The staircases sometimes led you to rooms you hadn't intended to find, quiet chambers, filled with shelves of half-finished moments and cupboards of forgotten hours bottled like perfume. Time here had texture, a softness to it, like wool, worn smooth with care. Holland was its keeper, not its master, for he claimed no dominion, but its caretaker, its companion, its patient listener. He did not speak often, but when he did, his voice was like parchment turning, or the low hum of a distant lullaby. He spoke of time not as a line, but as a thread, frayed in places, knotted in others, and altogether fragile. He carried with him a small brass device shaped like an open eye, which he wound absent-mindedly whenever deep in thought. It never ticked, yet something about it felt alive, as though it too was listening. The villagers would come to him with small requests, to mend a broken chime, to quiet the ticking of a restless clock, or to simply sit and listen while their sorrow spilled across the wooden floor like scattered marbles. He offered no advice, only presence. And somehow, presence was enough. But Holland was not merely a clockmaker of gears and cogs. His true art was more delicate, more secret, a craft whispered of only in twilight tones. He mended dreams, not all dreams, and not for all people, but for those whose sleep had been troubled too long, for those whose regrets curled like smoke into every night's rest. He offered something else. He offered the Dreamclock. It was not a device anyone had seen fully. Some claimed it was hidden deep in the tower's heart, surrounded by vials of candlelight and strands of spun time. Others said it had no fixed form, only manifesting when needed, shaped by the sorrow it was meant to mend. What is known, or at least believed, is that Holland built the Dreamclock not to turn back time, but to gently soften it, to loosen the knots of memory, to rethread a single strand of regret into something that no longer stung. It did not erase, did not rewrite. It merely allowed one to rest within a better version of what once was. He never offered it lightly. There was always a price, though not in coin, nor service, nor even thanks. The price was simply this: one memory must be let go, not erased, but offered up, like a petal cast into a stream, knowing it will not return. Only then could the dream clock be wound, and only then would the dream unfold. Soft as twilight rain, of Holland himself, little more was known. He kept no records, bore no lineage. Some believed he had once been part of the dusk spirits themselves, a child of Dathan, perhaps. It is said that the dream clock was not born whole. It did not descend from the stars, nor was it found buried beneath ancient stone. It came into being slowly, painfully, with each regret Master Holland could not soothe, with every whispered wish that clung to the air long after the dreamer had gone. And so, it began not as a mechanism, but as a yearning, one that built upon itself like snow gathering on the branches of a sleepless tree. The turning point, the moment the dream clock moved from idea to presence, began one quiet autumn, in a year that had no number. Duskvale had entered its long season of bronze light, where the sky hung low like burnished silk and the trees whispered secrets only the wind could keep. Holland, as always, had been working alone in the tower, shaping time into stillness with slow, deliberate gestures. But something had begun to change. The dreams he had once helped to soften were becoming heavier, not darker, not crueler, just full of a sorrow so old it had grown soft and quiet, a kind of sorrow that could not be mended with presence alone. One night, just as the sky had deepened into the color of old violets, a child arrived at his door. No one knew her name, and she offered none. She was wrapped in a shawl of wind-worn wool. her eyes pale as they are before dawn. She carried a small satchel, which jingled faintly as she moved, though no one ever saw what lay inside. She did not speak for many days. She merely sat at the edge of the clock tower's shadow and watched the gears turn. Holland did not press her. He offered warm tea, soft blankets, and silence. He knew the language of waiting. On the seventh dusk, she finally whispered, "Can you make it not have happened?" Her voice did not tremble. It was too tired to tremble. And Holland, though he had heard such questions before, paused for a very long time. At last, he answered, "No, but I can show you a version where it didn't hurt." The girl blinked once, slowly, like someone who had not expected kindness. Then she opened her satchel and revealed its contents. Inside were tiny glass vials, each holding a sliver of song, not melody, but sound, a breath held before a scream, the rustle of leaves just before a name is spoken, the hush after a door is closed. These were not moments of trauma. They were the echoes that follow, the pieces memory leaves behind like frost on a window. Holland took the satchel and wept, not because he pitied her, but because he recognized the weight of them. He had carried such vials once, perhaps still did, and so he descended into the heart of the tower, into the chamber where time pooled like shadowed wine, and began to build. The Dreamclock, as it would later be known, was not a single device, but a tapestry of failures forgiven, paths not taken, and wounds remembered with gentleness. He gathered fragments, the last note of a lullaby never finished, the warmth of a forgotten hug, the scent of bread baking in a home long lost. He wove them into gears that did not turn, but breathed. He shaped the hands not from metal, but from the moment a dreamer sighs before sleep. The numbers were etched not in ink, but in wishes surrendered without demand. The final piece was the core, a pendulum of memory and mercy. To power it, he offered his own most painful moment. No one knows what it was. Some believe it was the loss of a love he never spoke of. Others say it was the day he forgot his own birthday and realized time had left him behind. Whatever it was, it became the pendulum's first swing. The dream clock ticked once, then again. Each chime after was not a measure of time, but a measure of relief. When the child finally stepped into its rhythm, she did not smile. She simply exhaled, and her shoulders settled. That was enough. But the dream clock had changed Holland. It asked more of him each time it was used, not in strength, not in sacrifice, but in memory. Every dream it mended was drawn partly from his own sleep. His dreams became time, and Duskvale never moved loudly. Even after the dream clock had begun its quiet work, nothing changed all at once. There was no moment of revelation, no fanfare, no shift in the sky. Instead, the village began to breathe more deeply, as if some long-forgotten ache had been gently exhaled. People did not speak of it aloud. They rarely spoke of Master Holland at all, not out of fear or reverence, but from a kind of gentle protection, the way one lowers their voice in the presence of sleep. The tower remained, always leaning slightly to the east as if it listened for something only it could hear, and Holland remained within it, though he was seen less and less. Some said he had begun to fade, not disappear, simply soften, his features blurred, his footsteps lighter, until the creak of the tower floor was no louder than a turning page. His dreams, once offered to others in pieces, had become a shared silence, a sanctuary housed between chimes. No one knew how many dreams had been rewoven, or how many regrets had been folded into stillness. Those who entered the tower did not emerge with memories wiped clean, but with a different rhythm inside them. Their stories had not been erased, only rattled, from a place that no longer hurt. The dream clock, it seemed, had become more than a device. It had become a place within the self, a room with no corners, where time wrapped around like a shawl and whispered, "It's all right now." People stopped asking if it could undo the past. They came instead with hopes of peace, of pause, of breath. But time, even time softened by dusk and dream, moves on, and so too did Holland, though no one could say when. One morning, though, the sky was the same soft amber it had always been. The tower stood still, not broken, not cold, simply quiet in a new way. The pendulum no longer swayed, the clocks no longer pulsed, and when the villagers gathered, as they always did in silence, they found a letter pinned to the door with a gear of translucent glass dotted. Read, "Time was never mine to fix, only to hold, just long enough for you to breathe again. You know how to hold it now, too. That is enough." Beneath the signature, if it was a signature, was a symbol, a spiral within a spiral, curling toward a center that wasn't there. The tower was never sealed, but no one entered again. They felt no need. It had given all it had to give. In the years, or perhaps moments, that followed, the people of Duskvale began to keep dream books. Small volumes bound in velvet or thread, filled not with plans or pasts, but with wishes folded gently into story. Some wrote of things that had never happened but should have. Others wrote of things they would never do, and found comfort in the choosing. They shared these stories not to rewrite their lives, but to understand them, to let them breathe outside the self. Children, born long after Holland faded, still played near the tower, listening for chimes that no longer rang aloud, and sometimes, just before sleep, one would look up at the leaning roofline and smile, saying, "Did you hear it?" The legacy of Master Holland was never carved in stone or preserved in records. It lived instead in the subtle changes, the softened gaze of someone watching dusk fall, the forgiveness spoken between pauses, the sleep that arrived not from exhaustion, but from surrender. And somewhere, perhaps far beyond the curve of the sky, or maybe curled in the hush between breaths, the dream clock still ticks, not to move time forward, but to fold it gently around those who need rest. Perhaps you've heard it before, not in your ears. Beneath the leaning tower of Duskvale, there is said to be a chamber where the light does not quite reach, not dark, no, but dim in a way that feels intentional, like a secret kept lovingly. Few have seen it, and fewer still remember, yet stories of it ripple through the village like the faint chime of a bell long past, soft, uncertain, but insistent. They call it the Room of Hours, not the clock room, nor the archive, not even the basement. The villagers, when they speak of it at all, speak in hushes and euphemisms, the hush beneath the hush, where the breath of time is held, where the forgotten go to sleep. According to the softest of tales, the Room of Hours lies beneath the Dreamclock's heart, hidden behind a door with no handle, no key, and no lock. It can only be entered by those who do not wish to find it. Those who stumble there do so not by searching, but by needing, a need so old it has no name anymore, only a shape, like the ache behind the eyes before we cry. Within this chamber, there are said to be vials, hundreds, perhaps thousands, stacked upon shelves that spiral inward, not upward. Each vial holds, not a liquid, nor a light, but a moment, not whole, but partial, not the event itself, but the essence of it, the flavor, the weight, the hue. They call them forgotten hours. Each is sealed with a thread of silver dusk, cool to the touch and warm to the memory. Some are cloudy, others perfectly clear. A few glow faintly with hues not found in waking life, colors that exist only in the spaces between words or in the second before waking. It's said that if you uncork one very gently, you might smell something, not sharp or pungent, but soft and layered. A summer that never arrived, a letter never sent. The sound of your own laughter from a day you no longer remember, not scenes, not stories, just presence, distilled. Some believe Master Holland created them in his earliest experiments, before the Dreamclock was whole. Others say the vials collect themselves, drawn by the tower's stillness, choosing to rest there like birds alighting on familiar branches. There are vials for hours lost to sorrow, those long, quiet evenings spent regretting what might have been. There are vials for hours of joy so fleeting they vanished before being named. And there are rare, luminous vials, nearly weightless, that hold the hour someone finally let go. You might wonder, why keep such things? The answer, if it exists, is not entirely spoken in words. Some say the room of ours holds time not to preserve it, but to bless it. That to let time pass is sacred, but to remember it gently is divine. The vials are not trophies, they are lullabies in bottles, songs no longer sung, but too beautiful to be forgotten completely. And sometimes, when the wind shifts just right and dusk deepens into blue, villagers swear they hear a soft sound rising from the ground beneath the tower, a gentle chorus, humming from beneath the cobblestones, not music, not language, but a kind of layered silence, the kind you hear in dreams. They say it is the vials singing to one another, calling out across time with their quiet, unfinished stories, inviting each of us to remember and rest. The villagers of Duskvale, though few in number, have whispered many stories about the room of ours and the vials that slumber within it. Over time, though time is soft and slippery in that village, these stories have formed a patchwork of meanings, interpretations, and quiet debates passed gently between steaming cups of moss tea and warm benches beneath the dusklit trees. Some believe the room of ours was Master Holland's first sanctuary, built not as a repository, but as a place of healing. According to this version, before he had the language of gears and pendulums, Holland was a collector of unspoken sorrow. He wandered the dreaming pots of others, gathering the hours they could not carry, not to erase them, but to cradle them, so those who suffered could sleep without the weight of remembrance pressing into their ribs. They say each vial in the chamber corresponds to a choice that could not be made, an hour where someone lingered too long between yes and no. These hours, unresolved and unanchored, drifted until they found a place to rest. Holland, being what he was, or perhaps becoming what he was because of it, gave them a home beneath the Dreamclock. That another theory, gentler and more mystical, suggests that the vials are not collected by any person, but rather self-born from the folds of time itself. In this tale, time is not a strict current, but a soft web, and every so often, an hour slips loose from its thread. These hours, if left untethered, do not dissolve, they drift. The tower, wrapped in the gravity of stillness and silence, draws them close, like a nest of gentle gravity. There, they settle, hum, and fall asleep. Others believe the vials are not lost hours at all, but borrowed ones, pieces of time that someone gave away freely to help another. A mother watched her child sleep instead of dreaming for herself. The moment a friend chose silence over anger. These vials, they say, are offerings, time given without expectation, now held in quiet reverence. There is, of course, a darker version of the tale. In this telling, the vials contain not the forgotten or the given, but the stolen. Some whisper that Holland's Dreamclock did more than soothe, that it took moments from others in exchange for peace, that behind every softened memory is another that was made heavier, misplaced into glass and sealed away. They point to the rare, pitch-dark vials, almost opaque, weighty with shadow, and claim these are ours. Someone somewhere still aches to remember, without knowing what's missing. But even those who believe this story tell it with a kind of reverence. For if time must be taken, they say, better that it rests with Holland, with someone who understood how to carry sorrow, without letting it spoil, among the village elders, those who've lived long enough to witness multiple twilights of their own hearts. There is a quieter belief. They say the vials are not memories at all, but emotions that outlive their purpose. The joy we forgot to celebrate, the grief we no longer needed, the love we never gave voice to. These, they say, are not lost, just waiting to be held again gently by someone who knows how to listen. Some even believe the vials respond to those who enter the chamber, that if you were to stand very still and open your heart, not your mind, not your eyes, but the quiet place where longing rests, one vial would begin to glow, not to be opened, but to be acknowledged, as if to say, yes, I remember too. And a few, only a few, claim that no such chamber exists at all. They say the room of ours is a metaphor, a dream shared by the people of Duskvale, conjured in moments of reflection, and passed between souls like a folded note. That the real vials are within us, not glass, not sealed, but tender and pulsing, waiting for someone like Holland to remind us that they're safe to release. Whether truth or tale, invention, there are some mysteries that are not meant to be solved, not because they are hidden too deeply, nor because they are too complex to unravel, but because they aren't meant to be opened in the way a lock accepts a key. They are meant to be felt, like the final note of a lullaby, or the hush that follows a memory returning softly to its place. The room of ours, whether stone and mortar or dream and myth, remains such a mystery. Even those who claim to have glimpsed it, often in a moment between waking and sleep, never speak of what they saw with certainty. Their voices soften as they describe it, as though naming it too clearly might cause the memory to fade. They describe the silence first, not emptiness, but a silence so full it seemed to hold shape. A silence that wrapped itself around them like dusk-warmed wool. A silence that listened. The vials, they say, are never labeled. There are no dates, no names, no signs of origin. Only the feeling each one carries, a gentle ache, a forgotten joy, the weightless hush of a decision never made. And in this lack of identification, the room becomes more than an archive. It becomes a mirror. For those who enter are not asked to discover what the vials hold, but to remember what they themselves once carried. And perhaps that is the point. Perhaps the room of ours is not a vault for time, but a vessel for acceptance. A place where moments can be held without judgment, where nothing needs to be fixed or redeemed, where the past is allowed to simply be, in all its unfinished beauty. There is comfort in the idea that no moment is ever truly lost, even those we wish we could change, even those we wish we could forget. The stories of the room invite us to believe in a kind of spiritual safekeeping, a place where our unspoken hours are not discarded, but tucked away gently, kept safe until we are ready to face them, or until we no longer need to. And yet, we do not visit that room, not truly. We do not try to unseal the vials. We do not seek to rearrange what was. Instead, we listen to the stories. We let them pass between us like shared breath. We find them in the chime of a spoon against porcelain, in the pause between two sentences, in the soft way a candle flickers when someone forgives themselves quietly. In these small acts, we echo the lore. We become caretakers of our own forgotten hours. And so the mystery remains, not as a puzzle, but as a companion. We do not solve it. We live beside it, and through that, it teaches us something vital, that healing does not always require answers. Sometimes it only asks for space, for stillness, for silence held without urgency. So whether the room of ours lies beneath the tower in a chamber shaped by dusk, or within the fold of your deepest dream, it does not matter. What matters is that you know it exists. What matters is that some part of you believes the hours you thought were lost were simply waiting to be remembered gently. There is a version of the tale, passed down through the folds of Duskvale's gentle hush, that most know well, or think they do. It is the story of Master Holland, the quiet clockmaker who mended not just gears and springs, but dreams and hearts. In this telling, he came to Duskvale from somewhere far away, a place swallowed by time, unnamed and unreachable. He arrived at dusk, naturally, with no memory of his past, but with hands that understood rhythm, patience, and repair. They say he built the Dreamclock from the remnants of lost time, a device not meant to control or command, but to soften. He never promised to change the past, only to cradle it gently, so it would no longer bruise the present. For years, he lived in his leaning tower, winding the Dreamclock once each sunset, allowing its slow rhythm to drift through the village like a lullaby sewn into the wind. In this telling, the Dreamclock became a blessing. Those whose sleep had grown heavy with sorrow found peace in its chime. Those haunted by a word not said, or a moment lost to pride or fear, came seeking Holland's help and left lighter. He asked for no payment, only that they let go of what they had already lost, so something kinder might take its place. And when Holland's time came, though in Duskvale, time has never been a sharp word, he did not die. He simply faded, like a dream that knows when to end. One dusk, the tower stood quiet, the Dreamclock silent, and a note appeared, soft as breath, reminding the people not to fear forgetting, and not to chase what had already passed. In this version of the tale, Holland is a gentle guardian, a patient saint of forgotten moments, a man who lived without seeking, who gave without asking, and who left behind a village that would carry his rhythm long after his footsteps stopped sounding on the stone. It is a beautiful story, soft, warm, and true, at least in the way all stories are true when we tell them with care. But some believe it's only part of the truth. They say there is another version, and it begins much the same, but ends somewhere far more shadowed. The alternate version of Master Holland's tale is not often told aloud. It lingers instead in half sentences, in the raised eyebrows of elders, in the way voices lower when someone asks too many questions about the Dreamclock. It isn't whispered with malice, only with caution, as if the story itself might listen and doubt. In this version, Master Holland did not arrive in Duskvale by accident or fate. He came in exile, not from a kingdom or city, but from time itself. They say he was once a time-right, a sacred profession from a place where hours were forged, shaped, and woven into the fabric of worlds. In that place, time was not a passive river, but an architecture, precise, sacred, unyielding. Time-rights guarded it fiercely, ensuring every event followed the sacred patterns set by the first spiral. But Holland broke the spiral not out of cruelty or hunger for power, but from grief. It is said he once loved someone whose fate was written in sorrow, a love destined to end in stillness. And Holland, master of threads and turning hours, tried to unwrite it. He did not succeed, not fully, but in trying, in daring to bend the sacred shape, he unraveled something in the loom of time that could not be neatly resealed. As punishment, or perhaps mercy, the other time rights cast him into a pocket of soft hours, a place outside the current of official time, Duskvale, a place where nothing begins sharply and nothing ends abruptly, where moments do not march forward, but turn in slow spirals like dust caught in golden light. And there, they say, Holland did not repent. He did not rebuild the timeline. Instead, he built the Dreamclock not as a bomb, but as a replica of what he had once tried to master, a quieter version, a gentler rebellion. But even this clock had rules. It did not erase, it did not undo. It shifted perception, softened the memory, dimmed the weight, unraveled the emotional thread that tethered regret to the soul. A grace, yes, but not without consequence, for every hour softened was somehow displaced. Some say Holland fed the Dreamclock pieces of his own life. Others believe he stored the burdens in the vials below the tower, the forgotten hours, creating an archive of unanchored time that hummed beneath the surface, slowly fermenting. And some, the quietest of all, whisper that Holland never stopped trying to rewrite the moment he lost, again and again, through the dreams of others. That each person who used the Dreamclock saw echoes of the sorrow that was not their own, a figure in the distance, a note in the air, a name they couldn't quite remember, all traces of his grief, stitched invisibly into the dreams he offered. Was this cruelty, or simply the last act of a heart unwilling to forget? We cannot say, for in this version, Master Holland does not fade peacefully. He simply vanishes. One night, the Dreamclock ticks once, and then is silent. The tower's window glows briefly with violet light. Then nothing. No note. No. Stories in Duskvale do not end. They drift, they settle into corners, coil into the folds of woven blankets, and linger in the warm spaces between breath and silence. No one ever says, "This is the truth," because truth in Duskvale is like twilight. It does not come in black and white, but in layers of soft, shifting hue. And so the two tales of Master Holland, the Guardian and the Exile, are not in conflict. They are two threads of the same fabric, viewed from different angles, told in different tempos. One is soothing, the other haunting, but both speak to the same quiet ache in the heart of those who carry memory like glass, beautiful, fragile, and far too easily shattered. Perhaps Holland was both man and myth. Perhaps he was sent away from a world that measured time too strictly, and found peace in one that let time breathe. Perhaps he did meddle with what should not be touched, and perhaps, in doing so, he became the only one who truly understood what time asks of us, to hold it lightly, to let it pass. To listen. There is something deeply human in both versions. In one, a man gives comfort without asking for anything in return. In the other, he gives the same comfort, but from a place of pain he could not bear to carry alone. Both truths speak to us, because we, too, carry hours we wish we could change, and we, too, long to be understood without being explained. Maybe the dream clock was never meant to rewrite anything. Maybe it was built only to slow us down, to help us see time not as something racing away, but as something soft, something spiraled, a song that repeats not to bore, but to heal, a rhythm that reminds us that our regrets, our joys, our missed chances, they are all part of the same slow, unfolding dance. And perhaps Holland did not fade because his time ended, but because he was never meant to remain. Maybe he was always a story, a hush stitched into the rhythm of dusk, a presence that arrived only when needed, and left when it was no longer necessary to carry the sorrow alone. That is the truth Duskvale holds gently. No story is ever entirely true, and none entirely false. Each is a window into something deeper, not about the world, but about the soul. So whether you believe in the benevolent clockmaker or the exiled Time-Right, whether you think he healed others or rewrote himself through their dreams, whether you believe the dream clock still ticks in secret or has finally come to rest, what matters most is this: you have your own hour. You carry it quietly, perhaps forgotten, perhaps sealed in a violent. You are still here, in Duskvale. The hour is late, though you do not know what time it is. There is no ticking, no bell to mark the moment, only the breath-soft rhythm of dusk, which stretches out like silk across the soul. The sky above is neither night nor day, but something suspended, eternal, tender, and hushed. You have walked now through the shaping of this world, through its silence and softness. You've seen how the first chime was not a beginning, but a hesitation turned holy. You've watched the dream clock turn, its hands slow and forgiving, cradling the hours others had tried to forget. You've seen Master Holland, both legend and man, standing quietly with time in his palms, not to hold it still, but to hold it kindly. Perhaps, as you rest now, you feel something loosening within you, not vanishing, just unbinding, the gentle unthreading of a regret too tightly wound, a knot of memory softly coming undone. This is not erasure. This is mercy. This is the rhythm of the dream clock still echoing softly, long after its chime has stopped. In Duskvale, no one asks you to let go. They simply offer a space where you can set something down, and it will be kept for you. Not judged, not fixed, only held. And in that holding, something remarkable happens. You begin to drift, not away, but inward, into a place where dreams are not bound by logic or shape, into a place where time curves like a smile at the corner of a memory, into a place where you are not your mistakes, nor your missed chances. You are only the rhythm of your breath, the warmth of your own unfolding. The story is ending now, but you are not. You are part of the hush, part of the spiral, part of the hour that softens rather than hurries. Let yourself be here. Let the stillness deepen, like roots into dusk. Let your thoughts fade, like footprints in lavender dust. Let sleep arrive without needing to be asked. Tonight, there is nothing more to reach for. There is only rest. There is only this. You are safe. You are